See, a long time ago, the Israelites would be lost in the desert, or they'd pitch camp. Their enemy, the Philistines, were very cruel because they wanted to know that the Israelites would be slayed, that they would be murdered and killed in their camps. So they would send them letters, taunting them, telling them that we will destroy you. And these letters were long and lengthy, and it talked about how they'd be killed. Almost like published books or something. Now, this is actually fact. The Philistines were very, very evil. Think of Goliath and what he did. I'm not necessarily saying Goliath was a Philistine. I'm just saying, look what Goliath did. It took a very long time before they just up and killed Goliath. And they had to send almost like a boy after him. It was very, very clever militant tactics, because they sent a child out to do the work and destroy Goliath. The Zodiac sent letters to the San Francisco Chronicle in the 60s and 70s, around that time. He even made a talk show, meaning he was on the talk show. There was a famous reporter that was connected to the San Francisco Chronicle. And all of a sudden, he picks the phone up for his show, and this guy says, "This is the Zodiac speaking." See the green? See, when you make a post, or like let's say you record a song, or you write a poem, or you write a book, or you make a vlog, that actually becomes an asset, right? It becomes an asset. And when you have a lot of assets, then you no longer have to work, because the assets do the work for you. The Zodiac killer wore a hood over his head. Under the hood, there was actually a mask. So that way you really would not know who he was if you grabbed the hood and removed it from his head. He had two slits on the hood so he could see out of. It was very hard to operate. And then he had a bullseye with a circle around it, or a cross with a circle around it, as a symbol for the Zodiac. He would target young couples and walk up to them and just simply start shooting. Sometimes he'd tie them up and make them do weird things. And in some cases, he tied them up and made them say weird things. And then he executed them. In many cases, the Zodiac would write a single paragraph to the San Francisco Chronicle. Sometimes a couple pages. But it was all done in a cipher. Code. Spoken. Well, he didn't speak in code. He kind of spoke in code, but he wrote in code. These different symbols. And then he always left the Zodiac sign as like a signature. Fincher made a movie. His name is, I believe, David Fincher. Same guy that did Social Network. He made a movie called Zodiac with Robert Downey Jr. and Jake Gyllenhaal. I've been on set with Jake Gyllenhaal. I've seen him work on set. He's pretty method. And the movie was very good. It was a very good movie. It kind of, in a way, just simply presented the killer rather than, getting all Silence of the Lambs kind of thing, which I think is more creepy than Silence of the Lambs by far. Because you can hear the birds chirping, you can hear the wind blowing, they're at a picnic, and I'd have to go back and remember if there's any kind of soundtrack that comes up, before the killing. I think it does. I remember hearing it now, like violin music or something. But the fact that he just walks up and starts talking in this kind of muffled voice is very frightening, because it's very incompassionate. Kind of like if someone cut you off on the road and just let you die, kind of thing, without using their blinker. Just kind of walked up, said a few things to him, and just killed him. I think one of the guys, one of the victims actually lived. Someone's freaking out or something, I don't know. One of the guys actually lived, and I think the woman, I'd have to do research on if the woman died or the guy died. One of them lived because they were a witness to it. And they said he talked in like a muffled voice. He was well disguised. He tied them up and stuff by the picnic basket and everything, right there where they were having lunch in the middle of the day. Just walked up and did it. Not a lot of people were around in that area of California. He'd find areas where lovers would go to kind of camp, where they'd go to kind of hide from the world, and he'd invade that area. Now, the first killing, I think, happened in a car, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not for sure. I'd have to do research on it. I know for sure one happened like at a picnic area in California, and then one happened in a car. He did kill a cab driver too. A cab driver was killed, and he did get on the media, so he was on the news, and the San Francisco Chronicle was very familiar with him at the time, because he personally contacted them and got to know them through letters. And like I said, he did call, and he was on a news show. And the guy said, who is this, that called? And he said, this is the Zodiac speaking.